Hey everybody, welcome to Let's Talk Movies. My name is Brad.
My name's Miguel, guys.
We're happy to have you guys with us. This is our first episode, dude. How you doing?
Pretty good. What about yourself, buddy?
Good, man. So today I think what we wanted to do was kind of give you guys an intro to what this show is going to be. And then we're going to talk about that freaking insane Marvel drop from the Disney Investor Day a couple weeks ago. So,
sounds good.
We've been friends how long, dude?
I think we've been friends since like high school, and like the two of us is just like ever since the whole like MCU thing started like coming out, like we always talked about it, and like that would just be like the top of our conversation. So like I don't know, with this whole coronavirus, I mean we haven't been able to talk much about it or like meet up. So I mean Brad's the one that pretty much created this idea, and you know I'm always for new experiences, so that's why we're here.
Yeah. We've been friends for probably going on 8 or 9 years, so and we're movie fans on top of everything else, so I think we just wanted a place to talk about movies. We're not really interested in breaking any news at all. We're really more interested in just talking about it and kind of bullshitting with each other. So we don't really have any deep sources or anything like that. We're literally here just to talk about movies. So really, let's talk movies. I think we should just hop right in. What do you think?
Yeah, let's go for it.
All right. So on December 10th, we had Disney Investor Day, and they unveiled a whole bunch of new Disney, Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, just like all kinds of insane stuff. So right now we have a compiled list of everything that Marvel announced in order of its release date. So really the first thing we have is Marvel Legends. So basically how I understand it is Marvel Legends is just going to be a compilation of like every hero and like their best moments. So I'm curious to see what they do with that, honestly. Like, what are we going to see? You know, how are they going to present the best moments from every person? You know, a Captain America episode and a Wanda episode, a Vision episode, you know, a Hulk episode, stuff like that. What do you think?
When I heard Kevin Feige talk about it, and when the way he mentioned it was like it's for people that like are gonna come in that are new to the MCU, because I mean this is already like 10 years, right? It's been like 10 years into
it's been a decade.
Yeah, it's been a decade in the making. So like it's a lot to catch up, and
yeah,
not many people can like binge watch every single movie and know exactly what's going on. So I think this is just a good like series to like recap everything that's happened for any newcomer that comes along, because it looks like Disney and the MCU are in for the long haul. Like this is going to be a long thing that they're going to do. So like this is just to help people jump right in and feel like they're not missing anything, pretty much.
Right. And honestly, I didn't even think about it that way, but like I think with Disney Plus, with all of these new shows coming to Disney Plus, I think the TV aspect of what the MCU is going to be huge. I think it's going to play a really big part like moving forward. Which moving forward, WandaVision. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, when they first announced WandaVision, I was like, okay, we're going to get, you know, the fun side of what Wanda and Vision, you know, their life together, and it's going to go through different eras. But now that we know that WandaVision, this upcoming Spider-Verse thing, and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness are kind of like a 3-part trilogy, I think WandaVision is going to be kind of a darker... It's going to start out, you know, this kind of fun one-off thing about Wanda and Vision, and I think in telling that story, it's going to transition into something a little bit darker, where she's going to mess up and she's going to open the multiverse, and you know, stuff is going to get wild. So I'm actually pretty hyped about WandaVision. I think it's going to be really interesting.
Yeah, so am I. I mean, I agree with Brad in regards to that. The WandaVision TV show, like I feel like it's going to start out with like it's just a usual sitcom. They're gonna go with the whole sitcom thing, and then like I feel like the universe she creates is like gonna ask her all these questions about our lives, and like she realizes that she doesn't really have a life, so she like continuously creates like stuff to like answer these people's questions. But the more she keeps creating stuff, the more universes she ends up creating. So like I feel like when they keep asking her about, they're going to keep asking about Vision, like, because they're going to ask if she's married and whatnot. So she creates Vision. So in that aspect, she creates another universe. And whenever she keeps creating universe, it keeps snowballing. So that's where I feel like this multiverse of madness comes in to play whenever Doctor Strange comes in, when the new movie comes out. Like Scarlet, or like she's gonna end up creating like all these universes, and it's gonna like snowball effect to like all these different realities, in which Doctor Strange I think is gonna like start realizing how like, yo, that's a really bad idea, Wanda. So I feel like he's going to like intervene in regards to that. I don't think you saw. Have you seen the trailer, Brad, to WandaVision?
Yeah, and I honestly, the thing that kind of like hit me the most about it is at one point, she's talking to, I guess it's their neighbor, one of their neighbors, and you have to remember this is like a fictional universe that Wanda has created, and I
Yeah.
think I think she has not realized the extent of her powers. And she at her, somebody comes to the door and she says, who are you? And the woman at the door says, I don't know. And she's glitching, and it looks like stuff is falling apart. So my guess, again, we don't have any deep inside sources or anything, but my guess is that Wanda is gonna screw up, and she is gonna open this whole multiverse idea, which is where we're gonna kind of head into this Spider-Man film for next December. So that's kind of my prediction. I don't know. I'm pretty hyped for WandaVision to see what it's going to become, just because I originally thought it was going to be kind of a fun one-off thing, and I think it's going to be more of a serious arc within the greater MCU. So
Yeah. I was very curious as to why they created this season with WandaVision, but like when I like watched Endgame, which I'm pretty sure like all of us have like watched Endgame like 4 or 5 times, but like Wanda loses like a lot. Like she
right,
loses her brother, she loses her basically the love of her life, Vision, and like I mean she's lost everything. So like I don't know. When we left her at Endgame, like she seemed very broken, but I think that's why I think she's created this universe, because I think she's like essentially lost her mind. And
right.
I think somewhere in the comics, she's there's a storyline in the comics where the Scarlet Witch, or like Wanda, for instance, like she creates a universe, or it's like she like destroys the universe to some degree. I don't know. I'll have to like look more in depth with it, but
Yeah.
I think that the reason, I think I can understand where she's coming from, because I mean she does have this power from one of the Infinity Stones. So like I think this is just her like in mourning and trying to like run away from reality, which in case we all can't run away from reality. So she creates this reality, and it ends up making matters worse. So I'm really excited to see where it ends up. Like I will be the first one to watch it, and I'm sure we'll talk about it in in later episodes. So
Yeah, for sure. I'm really excited about that one. Leading us into the next one, that's Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Now, what Kevin Feige said that really interests me is that this is an MCU movie spread out across 6 episodes. So I'm really curious to see where they go with these 2 characters, especially because, when their arc started, they were so at odds. And then really, I think around Civil War, the 2 of them started to like kind of mesh together a little bit. So I'm kind of curious to see where they go with this arc. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's going to be a really interesting one too.
yeah, that TV series is going to be really interesting too. Also because that they are introducing, I guess, a quote unquote fake Captain America. Like I think from what I could tell from the trailer that the government is creating this Captain America because obviously Steve Rogers retires and he gives the shield to oh god, I feel bad for forgetting the name. to the Falcon.
Sam
And
Wilson.
yeah, Sam Wilson. There you go.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Anyways, I remember when he gave the shield to Sam, like Steve Rogers basically passing the torch to Sam, but the government, I feel like, is not with that. So they created this fake Captain America, who is apparently an agent. There's a name for him. I forgot what it's called. It's like Agent something. Like they're creating this new Captain America, which I think is going to be really interesting. I feel like he might be either a antagonist or like just some extra person that keeps getting in the way of Sam and Bucky, because I'm really interested to see how Sam and Bucky end up, becoming friends, because they like Brad said, were at odds with each other, rightfully so, because I mean they beat each other's ass like a couple of times. So, but throughout Civil War, they like ended up getting more close together with one another. And I guess since Steve is recently retired, I mean it's just the two of them that has to like live up to the torch that Steve passed on. So it'd be interesting to see how they do it. Obviously, from the trailer, you could see that they're like still like bickering with each other, kind of like brothers, but they're still like a uniform system with one another. So I'm excited to see how that works out.
It's a playful bicker, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I could totally see that. But I'm more interested to see who the actual antagonist, because I don't think I've seen anything. Actually, I'm dumb. It's Baron Zemo, right?
Yep. Yeah, it shows him. It shows like a quick glimpse of him in the trailer. I think the part of the trailer that really got me was right at the beginning. It's like the first thing that happens when Sam is looking through the glass. I don't know if the shield is in a museum now or whatever, but he says, the legacy of that shield is really complicated. So I feel like you're right, and that, Sam is going to be trying to figure out, was Steve right? Was Steve right when he retired and he took back the stones? Was he right in giving that to him? I think a lot of what Falcon and the Winter Soldier is going to be is Sam trying to live up to Steve's legacy, and trying to be the next Cap, really. So I don't know. That one really interests me too. It all interests me. I mean, it's all like mind blowing,
Oh yeah, for sure. And I know that in the comics that Sam Wilson eventually does become the new Captain America. I think after Captain America was killed, if I'm not mistaken, he was killed, and then Sam became the new Captain America. So it'd be interesting to see how he tries to live up to that expectation, because that is a big.
It's big shoes to fill, dude.
Yeah, big shoes to fill for sure.
Yeah. So next on the list for May 2021, May of next year, we have Black Widow. I've waited this for a long time. I mean, I think Black Widow is awesome. I think her storyline, from what I understand, this takes place in between Civil War and Infinity War. So I'm kind of curious to see her background, because her background and everything about her has been real mysterious and kind of strange. So I'm real interested to see where they're going to take this one too.
Yeah, same. I mean, I feel like the Black Widow movie will kind of be like Captain Marvel, where like it did kind of connect to Endgame, but at the same time it was propelling a new storyline.
Right.
Because with Captain Marvel, I mean, at the end it did connect to like Endgame, but the whole story of Captain Marvel was preparing for what Kevin Feige basically introduced to us, I think, was Secret Invasion, which is like another big story. So
yeah, and we'll get to that. That's later on. So really, next we have Loki. This is another one. I'm not gonna lie. The Disney Plus series really interests me, because they're doing different things than we've done with the theatrical releases. So Loki, Kevin Feige described this as Loki being at the center of his own crime universe, and he's confused. So, if you've seen the Loki trailer, it shows the scene in Endgame where Tony loses the Tesseract and Loki takes it, and he goes kind of off into his own universe. So I'm really interested to see this like crime thriller aspect of what this Loki series is going to be. And then, you know, of course, that raises questions like at the end of the trailer about, you know, are we going to see a Thor cameo? Or are we going to see a Heimdall cameo? I know obviously they dropped some Kang the Conqueror Easter eggs in there, so I'm sure we'll see a little bit of him.
They dropped the Kang the Conqueror Easter egg?
A little bit, yeah. There was a little bit in the trailer. It didn't say his name, but some of the statues and stuff behind that you got glimpses of, it was like, it's Kang. I mean, like, it's duh. So, I don't know. Well, it's going to be crazy.
I didn't pay attention to that, honestly. I was just more, when I saw that Loki trailer, I was very excited because I don't think you know this. I don't think we talked about it yet, but Loki basically takes the character of DB Cooper. Do you know who DB Cooper is?
Is that a comic character?
No. Listen, so like at the end of the trailer, you saw how Loki was jumping out of the plane.
Yeah.
And gets sucked up. That's a legitimate story from an actual case. I don't know. Most of you, if you guys check out like Unsolved Mysteries, which by the way, like check them out. They're pretty cool. They do a story about DB Cooper, who was a guy who basically hijacked a plane, and like his storyline is by far the funniest I've ever heard. Granted, hijacking a plane is never okay. Let's just clear that out of the way, okay? I'm not for that. But
we're gonna move on.
Absolutely, yeah. His storyline is absolutely hilarious, and I think they're gonna do a little bit of they're gonna like do a nod to that unsolved mystery. Like so, like whenever you're free, like check it out. Like it's absolutely ridiculous, his story. Okay. So it's pretty funny that Loki is doing it, which honestly makes sense because I mean he's the god of mischief, so it wouldn't surprise me that he would try to do something like that. But that's one thing I caught. I didn't catch the Kang the Conqueror, but I'm excited to hear that they have a character for him too. So yeah. I'm excited for that Loki series as well.
Well, you know, part of what interests me about that is the fact that Kevin Feige said that Loki is confused. I think, you know, when we saw Loki in Endgame, when he took the Tesseract and he left that timeline, I think he doesn't know where he went. I think he was just happy to escape. So I'm pretty curious to see where that storyline is going to go. And, you know, you were talking about when he jumps out of the plane, he mentions Thor and Heimdall. So, like, are we going to see Thor in that series? That would be dope. I'd be fine with that. I think that'd be cool.
I think so. I'm excited to see that too. Wait, didn't I hear something else that like he was supposed to be in an insane asylum?
I don't know.
Or did I miss?
I'm not sure. I haven't heard anything about that.
We'll have to get more in depth with that one, but yeah, I don't know. Like I said, excited for that series too.
Yeah. So that moves us on to summer of 2021. I don't think we have an official release date yet for What If, which What If I think is going to be one of the coolest, most different things that the MCU has done. The thing that really intrigued me the most about the What If trailer is the Watcher introduces himself. Like straight up, he says, "I am the Watcher." So
who voices the Watcher, by the way?
I don't know. I don't know if they have. I'm not sure if we could Google that if they have a cast list up. But I'm curious to see, you know, if What If is really going to be all of these one-off stories about the MCU. What if the Watcher narrates or hosts that show? I think that would be dope.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
That would be amazing. I think that would be really, really cool. So, and then, of course, we saw, like, midway through that trailer, Cap is a zombie. So we're obviously going to get that Marvel Zombies episode, which is going to be unreal.
I personally think they should – I mean – okay, realistically, they can't make a whole movie out of that because that would, like, destroy the entire MCU, basically. But I'm excited to see that one. Like, it's really interesting. That storyline is very intricate and very interesting to read about. Like, if you guys haven't checked Marvel Zombies, like, check it out. It is really interesting. And I think one thing I'm really excited for as well with the What If is seeing the storyline of course, you know, the late Chadwick Boseman. There's a storyline where he is the one that's abducted by Yondu, and he
Yes, I
becomes
saw
Star
that.
Lord. So it'd be exciting to see Chadwick Boseman again. You know, rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. Absolutely my favorite character in MCU. He was a top-notch hero,
Really? He's your
an
favorite?
icon that I look up on. He absolutely is, without a doubt.
I didn't
Like
know.
it
I
was.
didn't know he was your favorite.
Oh, without a doubt. When he came in and I saw him in Civil War, oh my God, I literally busted a nut. It was by far my favorite. When I saw his claws just go, I was like, oh yes, take me now, Daddy. Like
That's
without
dope.
a doubt, I love Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther. When I saw the movie too, granted there were some CGI. Like I know people talk about the CGI stuff, but as a movie as a whole, absolutely phenomenal.
Right.
So
Yeah, it was good, man. It was really good. So What If brings us to July of next year, which is Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Now, I'm gonna be straight up. This is one I know very little about. I am not very familiar with Shang-Chi. To be completely honest, I said Shang-Chi for about a month before we filmed this tonight. And I listening to Kevin Feige talk, that was the only way I knew it was called Shang-Chi, not Shang-Chi. So I'm curious.
I think
I'm all open to whatever that story's got because, I mean, it's supposed to be something crazy. So
well, that's supposed to introduce the Mandarin, like the real Mandarin.
really,
Because the Legend of the Ten Rings, like that's about the Mandarin, which is really interesting because I don't know, it's the Ten Rings kind of reminds me of the Infinity Gauntlet at the same time because you know they all have like specific powers, whatever. I may be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I think they all have specific powers. But it will be interesting to actually see the Mandarin because let's be honest, we all were kind of disappointed. Those comic book readers, I'm sure we were all disappointed when we found out that you
from
know
Iron
the
Man
Mandarin
3.
wasn't real. Yeah, in Iron Man
Yeah.
3. So, but I don't know if you saw, like Marvel did like some small little episodes of the guy who played the Mandarin in the movie, like while he was in jail.
What are you talking about?
There's like, oh my God, man, you serious? You ain't seen it?
No, I haven't seen that.
There's a small TV series about the actor that played as the Mandarin in Iron Man 3. Like he's in jail and he's being interviewed by someone, and at the end, they capture him. They say, "Hey, the real Mandarin wants to talk to you," and I'm like, "What?"
Oh.
So the Mandarin is real. Like,
yeah,
it's canon in the MCU.
Right, and I'm sure it will be after this.
I just wish Tony Stark was back to do that because I mean the Mandarin was kind of a top villain for Iron Man. So you know, again, you know, rest in peace Iron Man too. I would love to see him again in the MCU. I know he did a terrible job in that. I mean, he didn't do a terrible job, but that movie, Dr. Dolittle, it did kind of bomb. Let's be honest, guys.
Oh, I thought you meant he did a terrible job as Iron Man. I was like, you can leave.
Oh no,
like you can eat a whole dick. Like that's not gonna happen. No, he did a good job.
No, not at all. I agree.
So that brings us next to Hawkeye, which is supposed to come in late 2021. I don't really have all that much to say about Hawkeye. I think it's gonna be awesome. I'm curious to see where they go. I think Hawkeye is another one of those characters that has a ton of potential that we've never fully tapped into. So, I mean, I really enjoyed his arc in Endgame, where he kind of went from that darker, you know, he had just lost his family and he was just kind of lost and like seeking revenge, you know, revenge that he didn't think he could possibly ever get that revenge with Thanos. But, you know, so I'm curious to see where this Hawkeye series goes.
Well, I mean, they're introducing Kate Bishop, which is
gonna be really cool.
Fun.
That's gonna be really, really cool.
I hope they don't end up killing off Hawkeye. To me, I feel like they might and pass it to Kate Bishop, but I mean, I would hate to see that.
Right.
But I don't think this season, I don't think that TV series is going to connect to the whole story arc. I think that's going to be one that's just, you know, its side thing.
Yeah.
It would just be interesting to see how he goes through life now having an apprentice. So it'd be interesting to see that.
It'll be interesting. So next brings us to, in November of next year, the Eternals. Now, there's a couple of things that really intrigue me about the Eternals. I don't know a whole lot about them, that was a comic book that I never really dove into. The cast really intrigues me because it's a huge cast. Have you seen the cast list for the Eternals?
It has a lot of top
It's
A
a
actors.
it's a lot. Like, it's a lot of people. And then, of course, Kevin Feige in that reveal video from Investor Day said that, you know, this movie is set over the course of thousands of years and that it's one of the most ambitious things they've ever done. So, like, I'm really, really curious to see where they go with this and how they tie this in. Now, you know, to be fair, before the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, I wasn't really a big Guardians of the Galaxy fan. I knew who they were. I knew they were a part of, you know, the comic books and they played a role, but I wasn't really a huge fan. So I'm hoping this Eternals movie is kind of the same thing as that, where it kind of changes my mind a little bit. But I'm all ears to see what they do. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, when I first saw Guardians of the Galaxy, I kind of knew them to a certain extent, but when I saw them, I mean, they became my favorite group. I mean,
Yeah.
In regards to like the Avengers, because
Yep.
I mean, they went so outfield, like they literally went to outer space. The past movies before Guardians of the Galaxy, they were just, you know, back on Earth. They took huge risks with Guardians of the Galaxy, and I mean, it hit. I mean, I'm almost certain everyone can agree Guardians of the Galaxy was by far a great movie, and Guardians of the Galaxy 2 by far my favorite. And we could talk all about their playlist because their playlist was phenomenal. Coming from a guy that loved all the oldie songs, fell in love with it. Like, I'm pretty sure I will buy a Walkman before I die, and I will donate it to my kids because I love that entire movie.
It was good.
But
it was
again,
good.
with the Eternals, I'm really excited to see how they go about it. Again, that's way outfield. It's going further from the Guardians of the Galaxy, but it looks like with the all-star cast that they have and everything, it'll be exciting to see. I'm pretty excited. I know who was it? Some guy, I forgot what his name was. He was in Game of Thrones. Jon Snow, if you guys watch Game of Thrones, that guy, that actor, he's going to be in it. Loved him as an actor.
Is he really?
So I'm excited to see how he goes about it. What?
Is he really? I'm not a Game of Thrones guy. My wife is. My wife loves Game of Thrones, but I've watched some of it. I'm not wild about it.
It's pretty stellar. But yeah, the guy who plays Jon Snow, I think his name is Kit Harington. I think he plays he plays, is it called the Black Knight? I'm not sure.
I don't know. I'm on, like, I'm gonna be straight up with you. I really don't know. Like, I'm not.
Yeah, again, guys,
I'm not very familiar with the Eternals, so
yeah.
That's why I'm curious. I want to know.
Yeah, the two of us, we're not totally into the all in depth with not Star Wars, the MCU.
Right.
But we just love talking about it. We just love throwing all these theories out, and we're all for it. But again, yeah, Eternals, that's on my list too.
Yeah. And just to be clear, we're not an MCU Marvel specific show, but it's just something that we grew up with it. We've been Marvel fans, so this is kind of a big deal to us. Which brings us to December 2021, the Spider-Verse stuff. Now, we're not going to get too in depth over the Spider-Verse stuff. We're kind of going to skip over it because the next episode, we're going to do an exclusive Spider-Verse episode. Because it's like every day there's like new leaks and new crap coming out about this Spider-Verse movie. So we're going to take a whole episode and talk about that. But real quick, what are you hoping to see out of this Spider-Verse movie? Briefly,
fucking everything at this point. I mean, they're throwing everything.
I dropped my headphones.
The kitchen sink. They're throwing everything but the kitchen sink to us about it. Like, they're saying, oh, we're bringing this guy in from this movie, this guy in from that movie, and we're also adding these two new Green Goblins. Like, they're bringing James Franco and whatever the fucking kid's name is from the Amazing Spider-Man.
Not James Franco, but Willem Dafoe.
Oh yeah, Willem Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe and I think his name is James Dahan, something like that. But
hey, they should bring James Franco too, because I loved him as well.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll talk about this Spider-Verse stuff next week. That's going to be a whole crazy episode. But next, after that, in March of 2022, we've got Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And from what we understand and from what I've read, WandaVision, the Spider-Verse film, which is untitled, and the Multiverse of Madness is going to be kind of a 3-part multiverse trilogy, with that Spider-Verse movie being the third or the second installment of that. So I'm really curious to see, Kevin Feige described this as thrilling and scary and mind-bending, which is just like, that intrigues the hell out of me. Like, I want to know, how are they really going to push the boundary? Kevin Feige keeps talking about them pushing the boundary of what the MCU is with this movie. So I'm genuinely curious to see kind of the direction that they take with this. I want to know what they're going to do. What's going to make it scary? I mean, is it really, are we going to see alternate timelines? Are we going to see, creatures and things that we haven't gotten to see before? I mean, what is it going to be?
Well, I know that they're introducing what's his name? The antagonist. It's I think his name is Nightmare. And
really?
I mean, obviously that sounds fucking scary already, but it'll be interesting to see how they create this like whole new like environment, and it'll be interesting to see like how it all plays out, because I mean, just looking at the cast alone, I mean, they're doing everything they can to make this a absolute thriller of a movie. Like I'm really excited to see how it all plays out, because right. I mean, looking at the cast already, did you know Ryan Reynolds is going to be in this movie?
You're shitting me.
I'm looking at it right now. It doesn't say what he's going to play, obviously, but I mean, let's be honest.
Dude, come on.
If I see Deadpool in the Multiverse of Madness, even as like a small cameo, it'd be hilarious.
Not seen
I would love it.
In all of my research, I had not seen that. It's got to be Deadpool. I mean, there's no other explanation for that. It's got to be Deadpool. Pretty
much. I think it should. And I know that I think they're still working on the contract with Ryan Reynolds. They say they're going to let him do his own thing, but obviously he's going to tie into the MCU, like one way or another.
Well, because, that's already been confirmed. I mean, I know, Sony and Marvel and Disney are trying to kind of, I think, redo some of their contracts. But, I mean, we've known Deadpool is going to be a part of it. I mean, I think that would be, if they're going to introduce him, that would be a perfect place to tie him in, So I hope that's correct and that he's really going to be in it. I'm really curious, and we'll talk more about this next week. Are we going to see more of Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield in Multiverse of Madness? Or is that really going to stick to this Spider-Verse film that's untitled for December?
Wait,
I'm
which
really
one is
curious.
Coming out first?
WandaVision is coming out in January. Then the Spider-Verse film, which is untitled, is coming out in December of next year. And then in March of 2022, we're getting Multiverse of Madness.
Gotcha. That's where we're gonna need an entire episode to dissect that, because it's low-key confusing as to where Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield plays. I mean, honestly, I think they're still like talking over negotiations of it, and probably. I think they have like plan A, B, C, D, all the way to the fucking alphabet as what they're gonna do with them. But let's not get too far into it, because again, that's a whole episode.
Yeah, that's gonna be a whole major ordeal. So really moving on. We don't have a release date for this yet. Ms. Marvel, which I gotta say, it intrigued me a little bit, because, Ms. Marvel is another character that I'm not completely up to date with. I never really followed her as much as a kid. But I really like, in that little sizzle reel we got from Investor Day, as I understood it, she is a Pakistani American teenage girl. Captain Marvel is her idol, and somebody that she really looks up to. And when she gains these powers, she is going to be a part of the greater MC universe, and she's going to have Captain Marvel as kind of a guide for her and how she uses these powers. And we also learned that she is going to be another character in Captain Marvel Part 2, which we'll get to in a little bit. So I'm intrigued for, where they're going to go with this Ms. Marvel series. What do you think?
I think that, we all know that they created this video game about, the Avengers, and Miss Marvel is in it.
Yep.
And I think a lot of people can agree that that game didn't really hit as much as it should. But
Dude, I have heard that game is dog crap. Like when I first saw the trailer, I was like, yes, they're gonna connect it with that Spider-Man game that we got and the Miles Morales game, and it is gonna be dope. And then I started reading reviews for it, and everyone was like, I don't know. So I don't know. I haven't bought it yet. I'll probably buy it at some point just because I'm curious and I want to know, but we'll see. So.
Yeah, I haven't played it either. I was just reading reviews, but I do know that they introduced Miss Marvel in the game, and I think her story arc is pretty unique and interesting. So
yeah,
I'm pretty excited to see where they go with this, because her powers are very I guess out of there. I can't really explain what her powers are right now. Like, I guess she could just like grow and like extend her arms to some extent. I don't know, but that's why it will be exciting to see her in the series.
Right. So really moving on, this is another one. We don't have a release date. We know it'll be in 2022. I don't know what month. I don't know what time of year. She-Hulk. Now, this was one that really got me going because I am a huge Hulk fan. Like, when I was a kid, I don't know about you, but like, I was a Hulk freak. Like, I watched like the Hulk animated series. I loved both Hulk movies. Of course, now looking back, I watched that first Eric Bana Hulk movie, and I'm like, I don't know. It's not that great. But I mean, I've always been a huge Hulk fan. So I think a couple of really interesting things that came out of this was the fact that, Kevin Feige talked about she's a lawyer and she works in law, and that other MCU heroes are going to pop up in this series because of what her job is. She works in, superhero law. And then Tim Roth as the Abomination. I thought that was really, really crazy that they're going to bring him back, because honestly, from the Incredible Hulk movie, which we all know was the second incarnation, the second movie in the MCU Infinity Saga, we never really talked about that again. And I understand because, it wasn't Mark Ruffalo playing the Hulk. It didn't really tie in with the whole greater MCU, except for, of course, at the end when Robert Downey Jr. walks in as Tony Stark and says, we're putting a team together and stuff like that. But so I'm really curious where they go with this series. My goal and my hope is that we get another Hulk movie out of this, even if, She-Hulk is a part of it. I think the Hulk is one of those characters that, even in Endgame, I know they gave him the shot where he snapped and brought everybody back, but I feel like the Hulk has always been in their pocket and they haven't like realized his full potential yet. You know what I mean?
I kinda, I guess. I know that obviously if they were to make another Hulk movie, it would be another like easy cash money. But
right.
I think that through all the Avengers movie, they kind of told Bruce Banner's story pretty well to a certain degree, because he's grown a lot in the last couple of movies.
Yeah.
But seeing where She-Hulk comes in, I'm interested to see how she gets introduced. I would love to see, obviously, Bruce Banner and She-Hulk come into play. It would be interesting.
And I'm really curious where Tim Roth's Abomination comes in. Like, because I don't, honestly, refresh me, at the end of The Incredible Hulk, where did we leave Abomination?
I don't think he died. I think he just got knocked out by the Hulk.
I know the Hulk laid it down. He beat him, but like
laid a whole down
like,
on my man.
I don't know if he's going to be in captivity and he's going to get released, because it's been Kevin Feige himself confirmed that Mark Ruffalo is going to be in this series, and it's going to be based on She-Hulk, Mark Ruffalo's Bruce Banner / Hulk, and Tim Roth's Abomination. So I'm genuinely dope. Yeah, like I think that's going to be a really dope series. I'm pretty hyped for it. So I'm just curious to see where they're going to go with that. So that's one of the ones out of all of these announcements. That's one that really like stuck with me and that I kind of thought was interesting.
I gotcha. How much time do we have left, by the way? Because I know we've been talking a lot already.
Let me see. All right, guys. So next we have Moon Knight, which this one, again, it's another character I'm not as familiar with, but Moon Knight is really interesting. You know, Kevin Feige talked about different personalities and things like that. It's set in Egypt, which I think is really, really cool. We're kind of getting to this like worldwide, like the MCU is going to be like a worldwide phenomenon thing. So what do you know about Moon Knight? What do you think?
I honestly don't know much about Moon Knight. All I know is that, like, in the time, like, you know, back when DC and Marvel were, like, kind of, like, battling with each other, I don't know who came out first, either the Batman or Moon Knight, but they're obviously ripoffs from each other to a certain degree.
Really?
But I know that, yeah, absolutely. If you look on, you'll see that it's another discussion we got to talk about is how DC and Marvel are so similar and different at the same time. It's
I know.
fucking hilarious. But I know Oscar Isaac is going to be playing Moon Knight, which will be very interesting because he did play as what was it? Apocalypse, and he did a fairly decent job on it. Okay, you know, the X-Men series wasn't all that, but it was still really good to a certain degree. But I'm excited to see what he does.
Yeah. So then we have Thor: Love and Thunder, which is supposed to be in May 2022, as long as COVID doesn't, you know, screw anybody's production. I know they're filming Multiverse of Madness right now in England, so hopefully we'll still get that in 2022. I saw where they have casted Christian Bale as Gore, which is pretty cool. Gore the God Butcher. Are you familiar with him?
No, I don't know much about him. Honestly.
That's going to be pretty cool, and I think Christian Bale playing him is going to be really, really good.
Christian Bale is all like he's a great actor. So
yeah, I think the thing about Christian Bale is Christian Bale plays crazy really well. So I'm curious to see where he takes that character. I'm sure there's going to be some CGI element to it because, I mean, duh. You know, look at Thanos. I mean, I love Thanos. Yeah, but and
Josh Brolin did an excellent job. Yeah,
I loved Josh Brolin's portrayal as Thanos. But I mean, I'm curious. I'm sure there'll be some CGI element. But I was really excited when I saw that they casted Christian Bale. So I think Thor: Love and Thunder is going to be cool. I'm curious if they tie that in with the Guardians of the Galaxy any. So I'm excited for that one too. One I want to touch on real quick, Black Panther 2, which is supposed to come out in July of 2022. Obviously, we lost Chadwick Boseman this summer, which was kind of a real blow.
It was a huge blow, my guy.
It was a really big blow.
My heart broke. Like I remember I sent you that info like immediately.
Yeah.
And it absolutely hit to the floor.
Well, but I remember where I was. Like we were at the drive-in. We were watching Halloween. Like if you see, I have my Michael Myers. I'm a huge Halloween guy. And my wife and I were watching Halloween at the drive-in. And I remember I saw that news and I was just like, holy crap, man. Like really?
Yes, absolutely.
So I thought it was really cool that Kevin Feige honored him in that release and flat out said they will not recast Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther, which means that Shuri will take on the role. And she will be Black Panther.
I don't think they have confirmed that yet, but it will be exciting to see because obviously that is canon in the comics, and it will be great to see it. But I'm not holding my breath on that. I'm just really interested in see how they do it because, I mean, there's a lot of opportunities that they have in regards to doing the storytelling. Because I mean, it could be M'Baku that does it, and Shuri could do it. And I don't know. At this point with reality, hell, Killmonger can come back. Michael B. Jordan, my boy. Yeah. I love him to death too. But I mean, there's so much that they could do. But as long as they pay tribute to what Chadwick Boseman did, I would be happy.
Yeah, I mean, I wholeheartedly agree with that decision. I mean, Kevin Feige said in that Disney Investor Day reveal, Chadwick Boseman did such a phenomenal job with that role, and he brought it to life unlike anybody ever had before. So I think their right move is to make Shuri the new Black Panther, and to follow the comic mythology. That I think that's the right move for them. So
I agree.
that's really all I have to say about Black Panther 2. I'm curious to see where they go. I want to explore Wakanda more. I want to see what else they do. So I'm curious overall. I want to know, but I thought that was really, really cool that they honored him in that way.
Respect, my man.
All right, so next we have Captain Marvel 2. So really, two things I had listed to talk about was obviously Miss Marvel joining that cast. I think I'm curious to see where that's going to go. Again, Captain Marvel and Doctor Strange, I think really are going to be two pretty huge forces moving forward in the MCU. So I'm really curious to see what we get out of Captain Marvel. So, and then the other thing, what the hell is all of this hate for Brie Larson? Like, what is the deal with people hating on it? Like, I thought Brie Larson was cool. Like, I have no issues with her. But I see people on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, and they're like, "Oh, Brie Larson sucks," and I'm like, "Why? Like, what did she ever do? I thought she played the role really well."
Hey, look, guys, listen. I have no hate for Brie Larson, but I mean, the internet obviously is able to create whatever narrative they want. I mean, they pretty much, I don't know, if you saw those videos of Brie Larson with the Avengers cast, you could tell it was
Right.
a little awkward. So that's where they kind of got that from.
I don't deny that. I mean, I'm sure she's, I mean, if she doesn't get along with them or whatever, I mean, that's fine. But I don't know. I don't really get the hate. Like, everybody was calling for her to be recast and stuff, and I was like, why? I mean, like, she did a good job. I mean, like, who cares?
She did a good job. I
thought she did a good job as Captain Marvel.
Did a really decent job with the whole thing. I mean, it was I mean, obviously she's a Oscar-winning actor, so clearly she was an obvious choice for that.
Right.
And I mean, there were clearly a lot of people that could have that people wanted to play Captain Marvel. But I mean, so far, I mean, Captain Marvel has done a pretty spot on. I mean, Brie Larson's done a pretty spot on job with playing Captain Marvel.
Yeah, I think
she's
independent,
done a good strong, job. And headstrong, which is pretty much everything Captain Marvel was. If you check, again, shout out to if you ever read the comics, check out Civil War 2. It shows a lot about how Captain Marvel is as a character, and I think Brie Larson is doing a good job in regards to showing that character.
Right. So, yeah, my wife loves Captain Marvel. She's her favorite of all the Avengers. I mean, we went to New York City last summer, and we were in the Madame Tussauds Wax Museum, and they have a whole Marvel section. And, we were taking pictures with them and stuff. It's pretty cool. So next, we don't have a release date, but as we mentioned earlier, Secret Invasion.
Captain Marvel is definitely going to connect to Secret Invasion.
I know, and
obviously
the fact that they come out back to back is like, I mean, duh. Like, it's got to.
For sure. And when they introduced the Skrull, I was fully expecting it to have them be like evil and stuff. But I mean, they came out to be just like, refugees.
Yeah.
And I was very surprised to see that. And it'll be interesting to see how the Skrulls are progressed as a full character, because as you know, Secret Invasion is a whole nother storyline that happens after the events of Civil War, and it's a pretty big event. So it'd be interesting to see how they put that in the MCU, because obviously let's put this out. I know I'm going by comic books, but the MCU pretty much, it takes inspirations, but they take their own direction. So
right,
I'm excited to see what they do with the Skrulls.
Yeah, and I mean,
Secret Invasion is going to be really fun for me.
I mean, Kevin Feige specifically said, Secret Invasion is going to be the biggest crossover event. Comic book wise, Secret Invasion is the biggest crossover event in the last 20 years, and they're putting that on Disney Plus. That's not going to be a film. That's going to be a movie on Disney Plus. So, like, I don't know. I think that's going to be kind of crazy. I mean, the fact that it's going to be a crossover event of that scale and it's going to be on Disney Plus, I mean, it's wild, man. So then that brings us to 2 more Disney Plus series. And I kind of group these together because I have a strong feeling they're going to be related. And that's Ironheart and Armor Wars, which we know Armor Wars is going to be based on Rhodey, so War Machine. And that's going to, basically Kevin Feige described it as Tony's worst fear, which is his machinery, his tech falling into the wrong hands. So I don't know. I'm curious to see where that one goes too. That has the potential to be really dark.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would love to see how Rhodey plays a part in it, because obviously Rhodey is a Air Force pilot,
right?
And he became a part of the Avengers, and I don't think you guys remember in Infinity War he went against Secretary Ross in arresting Captain America. So he clearly is not in good standing with the government. So I'm excited to see how he plays a part in this series, because if all of Tony Stark's machinery gets sent to the wrong hands, it'll be a dark episode for sure.
Yeah, and that also begs the question: whose hands is it going to fall into?
I think it would just be. I don't think it's going to be like a villain. I think it would just be like the whole world kind of like getting some part of his technology. Because as you remember in Iron Man 2, I forgot what his name was. He
yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Hammer Industries. They kept saying like, oh well, people are starting to copy his technology. There'll come a day when Iron Man can't protect us all, which obviously it did, but there'll come a time when the rest of the world catches up to Iron Man, and so when maybe the world will catch up, and Rhodey has to find a way to stop it,
cope with that.
Yeah. So, and I think that's where Ironheart, which what you were talking about, could be interesting, because I'm curious to see who plays that to a certain degree, because I forgot what her name was in the comics. It's this African American lady that becomes Ironheart, but also at the end of Endgame, there was a deleted scene with Tony's daughter.
Yeah.
Maybe they introduce her and the lady from the comics too. So,
right.
Like I said, MCU is going all they can to make this storyline exciting for all of us, for comic book readers and just MCU lovers.
Yeah, I really think that it would be cool if they introduced Tony Stark's daughter as Ironheart, but I don't think they're going to go in that direction. I think they've casted her. Forgive me, I don't remember who Kevin Feige said that they've casted, but I believe they've casted someone in that role, and it's not Tony's daughter. So I don't know. We'll see. But that brings us on to another 3 that are kind of grouped together, not necessarily in release dates, but in themes. So we have Guardians of the Galaxy, the holiday special, which is supposed to release in December of 2022, which I think that's just going to be a fun time. I don't think that's going to really be anything serious related to the MCU. I think it's just going to be a good old time. Then we have the 3rd Guardians of the Galaxy film for 2023, plus one that I am stoked about. I think it's going to be freaking awesome. I Am Groot for Disney Plus, which is just going to be like a bunch of one-off stories about Groot. Like, I think that's awesome. That's going to be really cool.
I mean, the Guardians of the Galaxy is like became its own thing, so I would love to see all these spinoffs.
Yeah.
The holiday special, it just gives me PTSD of the Star Wars holiday special, and we all know how much of a, I guess, cult classic that is. I don't know if you guys know. I don't think I've said it already, but I am a huge Star Wars fan. So like, sometimes at some point in these episodes, we'll talk about the Mandalorian because listen, guys, the Mandalorian absolutely phenomenal, saving the Star Wars franchise on its own. So we'll talk more about that. But yeah, the holiday special with Guardians of the Galaxy, I'm excited for it. But I feel like they're kind of playing off the Star Wars holiday special. It'll be interesting to see how it works.
We'll see. I know James Gunn is returning to do both the holiday special and Volume 3 for Guardians of the Galaxy. So I'm not sure who's writing I Am Groot, but I believe, from what I understand and kind of what I hope it to be, is I Am Groot is just going to be, a bunch of shorts about Groot. Kind of like how on Disney Plus they have Bow and a lot of those other real strange, just kind of one-off shorts. I'm expecting I Am Groot to just be a bunch of different episodes about Groot and, his experiences just being Groot. Like that's all you know what I mean? That's all I could expect.
Exactly. So, I don't know what to expect from it. So it'd be exciting.
Next we have 4 more to go. Next we have got Blade, which was already announced last year. But I gotta say, I think Blade is going to be a really, really different, really cool installment. And of course, Blade makes me beg the question, are we going to get a Morpheus crossover with Blade? Because
you said Morpheus. I think it's Morbius, my guy.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, Morbius. I don't know why I said Morpheus. I'm an idiot. But yeah, Morbius crossover with Blade. We know Venom and Morbius have to make their way into the MCU. Like that's going to happen. So I'm really curious where they're going to go with Blade. I think Blade is an opportunity for them to do something a little bit darker and to kind of reinvent the wheel a little bit in terms of what they do with the MCU. If Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is going to be a dark entry, possibly even a rated R entry, I think Blade should have that same opportunity because,
Blade should absolutely be a rated R movie. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Vampires.
I mean, I don't know. I think it's going to be really cool. So.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I forgot what the actor's name was. He's from the Green Book. Phenomenal actor. Love him.
Yeah, he's a really good actor.
I'm excited to see. He has some big shoes to fill because, Wesley Snipes did a pretty good job with it. Granted, the trilogy ended, kind of sour, I guess. Some people don't like the third installment of Blade, but I think in this direction, Kevin Feige and the MCU want to do with Blade. I'm excited to see how it goes.
Yeah. So then, second to last, we have Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. So, again, I
that
think
has to connect.
It with what?
With the whole multiverse thing, because that's a universe.
Really? Well, here's the only thing is, if we really get this trilogy with WandaVision, Spider-Verse, and Multiverse of Madness, Ant-Man and the Wasp is going to come far after any of that stuff. Like a year and a half to 2 years after. So, I don't know. I'm not sure. We don't really have a whole ton of information about that movie, except the fact that all 4 of our leads are returning. Evangeline Lilly, Paul Rudd, Michelle Pfeiffer, and what's his name? Help me out. What's his name?
I forgot too. But he was in Wall Street. Love that guy.
Yeah. So we know they're returning. So obviously it's going to be cool. The name Quantumania. Duh. We're going to involve the quantum realm again. So I think that's cool. We're going to get to explore that a little bit more. So I don't know. I'm curious to see where we're going to take that. And then finally, I have been waiting for this for an eternity. I have been dying for them to announce this. Fantastic freaking Four, dude. Fantastic Four. I'm in the minority here. The original 2 Fantastic Four movies we got from Sony, I dug them. I was cool with it. I thought it was dope.
I liked the first iteration of the Fantastic Four. It was kind of cool.
Forget the word.
Kooky. Yeah, I forgot the word. They were all right. I liked them. They were good for their time. the way I can see it.
Right.
The recent Fantastic Four, they tried something, didn't hit.
Yeah.
Didn't hit.
I honestly,
Universally did not hit.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I forget that even exists. Like, I wasn't even thinking about that until you said it. It just, I don't know. There was something about that newest Fantastic Four movie. It felt campy. You know what I mean? It felt campy. Like, it felt like, I don't know. It just didn't feel serious. It didn't feel like it was a serious entry. And like they were really trying to do something with it. I don't know.
Fair. Yeah,
You know,
I can see that.
Even Doctor Doom, like, I felt like, you know, Doctor Doom, which I'm really hoping that they bring Doctor Doom into the MCU. And honestly, I could see Doctor Doom being the next Thanos. I'm just going to put it out there. I think
he'll be. I, for one, think he might end up being kind of a Loki kind of character in the MCU. But
really?
I think he would end up being like a really big antagonist.
See,
I don't know.
I know a lot of people, a lot of what I see on Twitter and Facebook and stuff says Kang. But I don't know. I think Doom is going to be a bigger villain than, you know, than what we got in those original two Fantastic Four movies with Michael Chiklis and Jessica Alba. I see him being a big player. So, you know, I mean, from the time that I saw Fantastic Four announced, I mean, Doctor Doom was like the one thing that was rolling around in my head. The other thing that I was thinking of is, you know, we've seen for so long this idea of wanting John Krasinski and Emily Blunt to play Reed Richards and Sue Storm.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie. Would it not be perfect?
They have to like absolutely cast them. It has to work because
I think it would be perfect.
Yeah, and it would be great on and off screen because, you know, half of the reason why the MCU has done so well is the chemistry of the entire cast. Like, they all blend well. So
yes.
like having John Krasinski and Emily Blunt in it, I mean, it would just enhance the chemistry tenfold.
Which then also begs you to ask, who are they going to cast for, you know, the Thing? Who are they going to cast for Johnny? I mean, that's big shoes to fill.
I don't know who they're going to cast as the Thing, but I know Johnny. I keep hearing, was it Zac Efron? I don't know. Maybe that's just like a fan thing I keep seeing on social media.
Really?
Hey, he's actually a decent actor.
I know he's a decent. Look, I don't have any hate for Zac.
High School Musical wasn't my thing. Okay, my exes back in middle school, they fucking loved him. But let's be honest, it wasn't everyone's thing. But he grew up to be a pretty decent actor, and
yeah, I understand that. I understand that.
So yeah, I'll be researching more about who they end up casting Johnny and the Thing, but absolutely has to be John Krasinski and Emily Blunt as Jesus Christ, I just blanked. Mr. Fantastic, and you got to help me out here now. Who's the other?
What are you talking? What, Johnny?
No, Mr. Fantastic and
Sue Storm, Invisible Woman.
Storm, there you go. Jesus
there you
Christ.
go. But
yo, guys, we had a couple to drink, so I'm just gonna let you know that ahead of time.
Man, I'll tell you what, I was always a big Fantastic Four fan too. They were always like, I'm glad they're finally bringing them in because I think they can be a real driving force moving forward. And I mean, obviously, the information is really scarce. I mean, even what Kevin Feige had to share was like, I mean, there wasn't a lot. So
that's why they didn't bring Tom Holland into that.
Right. I'm sure we'll find out more over the next year and a half. So I'm really curious. So that's it, man. That's the entire list. That is a lot of stuff jam-packed.
That means a lot of episodes for us.
I'll tell you what, I was watching, like, I was on Twitter as they were releasing that. I wasn't watching it live. I didn't watch the reveal until the next day. but I saw all of the pictures they were putting up, and I was like, holy shit. I mean, it was just like, it was a lot to go over. So I'm glad we got over this whole list. Is there anything you want to add about the whole thing? I'm really excited to see where they're going. I think the MCU is going to open a whole brand new chapter, and I'm curious to see, you know, the thing that really interests me the most is, you know, Kevin Feige really stressed that everything is so tied together over these next few phases. So I'm really curious to see how all of these characters lean on each other, and how, you know, one story interlocks with another, and just where they go moving forward. So what are you thinking?
Guys, we are literally watching history in the making. We've never seen a franchise do this with so many interconnected movies. So like, this is all new, and that's what makes it so exciting. And that's part of the reason why we doing this podcast too, is because this is so new, and like, we just want to talk about it. And I'm sure you guys want to hear more about it. So that's why we enjoy talking about it. And you know, I'm very excited with everything that's coming out. Like, all from like Hawkeye to the Fantastic Four to the new Marvel movies. Like, I'm really excited to see how it all connects. Like, it's gonna be very interesting. And yeah, I mean, obviously we're gonna be doing more episodes, so you're gonna be hearing a lot more of us bullshitting what we can know about this whole thing, because like I said, none of us really knows what's going on, but that's why we're here talking about it.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, I'm just excited in general. You know, like I said, we don't have any inside sources. We see what you all see. You know, so we're just here to talk about it. You know, and again, we're not a Marvel exclusive channel or show. You know, we will have other things going on. I'm sure you see a whole bunch of horror stuff behind me if you're watching this on YouTube. So be sure to follow us on, you know, Spotify, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram at We Talk the Movies. New episodes will update on Monday mornings at 11 a.m. Eastern time. So, yeah, we'll just keep on talking movies. So remember, next week we have our Spider-Verse episode. That is going to be crazy. I'm not going to lie. I'm dying to film that. Like, that's going to be wild. So we just thank you guys for talking with us tonight. And we will talk to you guys soon. See ya.
Yep. Take care, y'all.